The world's most amazing and strangest buildings. Part 2. Produced and presented by Frank R. Parker. Copy editor, Mercine Vafiades. Hi folks. I'm back to welcome you to part 2, of the most amazing and strangest buildings of the world. I hope you enjoy this conclusion of the presentation, and that you keep a keen ear open for some of our new presentations to be coming soon. Enjoy, and don't forget your popcorn, to savor during the movie. Conch Shell House. Isla Mujeres, Mexico. Its shape is perfect, exterior is sea-washed white. It comes with 2 bedrooms, air conditioning with an outdoor pool. The Conch Shell House is tucked away on the Yucatan Island and offers fantastic views of the Caribbean Sea. Construction began in 2001 and took 3 years to complete. The house was designed by one of Mexico's most famous artists, Octavio Ocampo, and his brother Eduardo Ocampo, an architect who dreamed of building a house in the shape of a shell. The Ocampos' masterpiece of the sea is as close to the sea snail lifestyle as a human being can get. Of course, the Conch House has all the necessary creature comforts, but its origin in the Caribbean is present throughout. Aside from its impressive likening to the conch on its facade, the shell house features much sea-like detailing inside as well. Sinks and faucets are made from coral and shell, and the master bedroom's headboard is styled like a massive scallop shell. Paintings of mermaids by Octavio Ocampo hang on the walls. The house is available to rent, and Eduardo and his wife Raquel live next door. However, the house can be rented for private events and parties, or a romantic getaway. House Attack. Vienna, Austria. House Attack was an architectural installation created in central Vienna, Austria. Austrian artist Erwin Wurm collaborated with the Museum Moderner Kunst (MUMOKs) for a publicity stunt in the form of architecture, for which he perched a cottage-sized house in a precarious position on the side of MUMOK's large grey building. Completed in October 2006, the house appeared to have fallen from the sky and implanted itself into the museum. Known for his irreverent approach to projects, Wurm said that House Attack is a symbol for an everyday occurrence as well as small-mindedness. He intended that the project would break architectural thinking from so-called normal limits. The house was constructed with a large wedge-shaped gap in the roof and was carefully craned into position before being secured to the museum's steel structure. The installation has since been dismantled. Inside the museum, you can feast your eyes on the extensive collection of almost 7,000 modern and contemporary artworks. Known as the largest art museum in Austria, MUMOK has some wide anthology of international artworks, from Cubism, Futurism, Surrealism and Classical Modernity to the art movements of the 60s and 70s. The unusual and fascinating facade of the building has become famous worldwide. Biblioteca Alexandrina, Egypt. It is a major library and cultural center located on the shore of the Mediterranean Sea in the Egyptian city of Alexandria. Construction work began in 1995 and, after some $220 billion United States dollars had been spent, the complex was officially inaugurated on October 16, 2002. The library has shelf space for 8 million books, with the main reading room covering 220,000 square feet. The Biblioteca Alexandrina is a research library and cultural center created in commemoration of the ancient library with the intention of making Alexandria into a city of world-renowned learning again. It houses the world's largest digital collection of historical manuscripts as well as the largest repository of French books on the African continent. The complex also houses a conference center, 4 museums, 4 art galleries, a planetarium and a manuscript restoration laboratory. Cubic houses. Rotterdam, Netherlands. Cube houses are a set of innovative houses built in Rotterdam and Helmond in the Netherlands, designed by architect Piet Blom and based on the concept of living as an urban roof, high-density housing with sufficient space on the ground level, since its main purpose is to optimize the space inside. Blom tilted the cube of a conventional house 45 degrees, and rested it upon a hexagon-shaped pylon. His design represents a village within a city, where each house represents a tree, and all the houses together, a forest. The central idea of the cube houses around the world is mainly optimizing the space, as a house, to a better distribution of the rooms inside. Opened in 1977. Ideal Palace, France. April 1879. During one of his rounds, Ferdinand Cheval, a rural postman, age 43, stumbles against such an odd stone that it awakes a dream. Real self-taught, he devotes 33 years of his life to build a dream palace in his garden alone. His inspiration comes from nature, postcards and the very first illustrated magazines that stimulates his vision. During his daily country rounds of about 18 miles and with the help of this faithful wheelbarrow he picks up stones. Alone, misunderstood, he writes down on his building, the work of one man. His dream palace gets completed in 1912. Unique in the world, the ideal palace has inspired artists for more than a century. Independent from any artistic trend, built with no architectural rules, the ideal palace has been admired by the Surrealists and is considered as an outsider artwork. He has been classified as a historical monument in 1969 by André Malraux, French Minister for Cultural Affairs at that time under Naive Art. The Church of Hallgrímur, Reykjavik, Iceland. Situated in the center of Reykjavik, it is one of the city's best-known landmarks and is visible throughout the city. State architect Guðjón Samuelsson's design of the church was commissioned in 1937. He is said to have designed it to resemble the trap rocks, mountains and glaciers of Iceland's landscape. It took 41 years to build the church. Construction started in 1945 and ended in 1986, but the landmark tower being completed long before the whole church was completed. The crypt beneath the choir was consecrated in 1948, the steeple and wings were completed in 1974, and the nave was consecrated in 1986. At the time of construction, the building was criticized as too old-fashioned and as a blend of different architectural styles. The church was originally intended to be less tall, but the leaders of the Church of Iceland wanted a large spire so as to outshine Landakotskirkja, Landakos Church, which was the cathedral of the Catholic Church in Iceland. The interior is 18,040 square feet. The church is also used as an observation tower. An observer can take a lift up to the viewing deck and view Reykjavik and the surrounding mountains. The church is still used today for modern services and weddings. Eden Project, United Kingdom. The Eden Project is a popular visitor attraction in Cornwall, England, United Kingdom. Inside the two biomes are plants that are collected from many diverse climates and environments. The complex is dominated by two huge enclosures consisting of adjoining domes that house thousands of plant species, and each enclosure emulates a natural biome. The biomes consist of hundreds of hexagonal and pentagonal, inflated, plastic cells supported by steel frames. The largest of the two biomes simulates a rainforest environment and is the largest indoor rainforest in the world, and the second, a Mediterranean environment. The attraction also has an outside botanical garden which is home to many plants and wildlife native to Cornwall and the United Kingdom in general. It also has many plants that provide an important and interesting backstory, for example, those with a prehistoric heritage. The Eden Project is a popular visitor attraction in Cornwall, England, United Kingdom. Inside the two biomes are plants that are collected from many diverse climates and environments. Construction began in 1998, opened in 2001. The Museum of Play, Rochester, New York. Known originally as the Margaret Woodbury Strong Museum and later simply as the Strong Museum, it became the Strong National Museum of Play in 2006, after completing renovations and an expansion that nearly doubled its size to 282,000 square feet. The National Museum of Play is the only collections-based museum anywhere devoted solely to the study of play, and although it is a history museum, it has the interactive characteristics of a children's museum, making it the second largest museum of that type in the United States. The museum includes exhibits that interpret the key elements of play, as well as allow guests to explore the worlds of Sesame Street, the Berenstain Bears, Reading Adventureland, and the Dancing Wings Butterfly Garden. The museum's exhibits are immersively themed for video games, storybooks, television shows, education, nature, history, comic books, carousel and train rides, and children's lifestyles. eGame Revolution is the first permanent video game exhibit in the U.S. and includes the World Video Game Hall of Fame. The National Toy Hall of Fame is at the museum. Dancing Wings Butterfly Garden features thousands of butterflies, and is the largest indoor butterfly garden in New York. The Berenstain Bears, Down a Sunny Dirt Road is an original, permanent exhibit produced in partnership with the Berenstain family. It is a highly interactive collections-based museum devoted to the history and exploration of play. The Strong Museum received a $700,000 United States dollars grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities to develop an interactive exhibit space to show the influence of video games on culture. The space is planned to open in the near future. Atlantis, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Nestled between the calm turquoise waters of the Arabian Gulf and the majestic Dubai skyline, Atlantis Dubai is the crown of the world-renowned resort. Dining in one of the award-winning restaurants or feeling the rush at Atlantis Aqua Venture Water Park, home to Dubai's best water park and biggest aquariums, plus incredible marine animal experiences. The exclusive guest rooms and suites offer a once-in-a-lifetime family experience or couples retreat, while the one-of-kind signature suites redefine luxury. Bedroom views of an aquarium filled with 65,000 marine animals to palatial three-bedroom suites with 360-degree views. There is also non-stop entertainment. In the #1 water park in Dubai and the Middle East, there are 30 water slides and incredible attractions. A stay there would be an unbelievable and unique experience. Kunsthaus, Graz, Austria. Kunsthaus Graz was designed by Colin Fournier as the partner in charge, together with Sir Peter Cook. According to the Bartlett School of Architecture at University College London, the Kunsthaus design sought to be deliberately provocative, innovate museum design by offering a less institutional approach to organizing exhibition spaces, and employs new materials and manufacturing techniques. The building is an example of blob architecture, and has a skin made of iridescent blue acrylic panels that also double as photovoltaic panels. Owing to its shape contrasting with its surroundings, it is known in local vernacular as the friendly alien. The building incorporates the facade of the Isarns house built 1848 in cast iron architecture. Architecture, design, new media, internet art, film, and photography are united under one roof. Kunsthaus Graz was developed as an institution to stage international exhibitions of multidisciplinary, modern and contemporary art from the 1960s to the present day. It does not collect art, maintains no permanent exhibitions and does not have its own depot. Rather, its exclusive purpose is to present and procure contemporary art productions. The Bix facade of the museum represents a singular fusion from architecture and new media and is based on a concept of the Berliner architects' realities, united. Bix, a name which consists of the words big and pixels, is the acrylic glass skin of the eastern side of the building, which consists of 930 fluorescent lamps whose brightness can be individually adjusted. Variable at 20 frames per second, the facade can be used as a large screen for films and animations in what is referred to as a communicative display skin. The Bix facade concept was entered into the Permanent Architecture and Design Collection of the Museum of Modern Art (MoMA) in New York in 2011. Forest Spiral. Darmstadt, Germany. Waldspiral. A residential building complex in Germany, built in the 1990s. It was designed by Austrian artist Friedensreich Untertwasser, planned and implemented by architect Heinz M. Springmann. The building has a green roof and contains 105 apartments, and a parking garage. The inner courtyard contains a playground for the children of the residents and a small artificial lake. Peculiarities of the U-shaped building are the unique facade, which does not follow a regular grid organization, and the windows, which appear as if they were dancing out of line, everywhere different and appearing out of order, often with tree tenants, trees growing out from the windows. The diagonal roof is planted with grass, shrubs, flowers and trees. At its highest point, the building has 12 floors. Wooden Gangster House. Archangels, Russia. In the city of Arkhangelsk in Russia, there was an unusual building thought to be the tallest wooden house in the world. The port where Nikolai Petrovich Sutyagin, the builder of the house, was born and raised was mostly home to fishermen. Sutyagin was a Russian businessman who was infamous for earning most of his fortune through crime. He didn't have much as a child, which was the reason he became so obsessed with building his dream home. In 1992, Sutyagin started the construction with only 2 floors, but as the building progressed, he added more because he always felt that there were not enough. After the first 5 floors were finished, a roof was installed to complete it, but a few years later, Sutyagin continued to work on it without a building permit. He was inspired by the vernacular architecture and wooden houses of Japan and Norway to keep going. He finally stopped at 13 floors, when he stood on the top and experienced a breathtaking view of the area. He built the house up to 144 feet to reflect his important status. In 1998, he was arrested for racketeering. The house was condemned as a fire hazard because it was the biggest structure in the middle of many wooden houses that could have been severely damaged if something went wrong. In 2008, a court order was given for demolition. The reason for this was that even though the authorities had forbidden him to build a wooden house bigger than 2 floors, he added a roof on top which he claimed to be only for decoration. It was slowly demolished the following year. Visitors who dared to climb the unsecured house before it was torn down spent time with Satyajin himself and heard the story about his home and what it would look like if it were completed. Today, only a few wooden fragments can be seen on the spot. According to the Telegraph, the Russian gangster dubbed his dream house as the eighth wonder of the world. In December 2008 the tower was pulled down and the remaining four-story structure burned to the ground on May 6, 2012. Montreal Biosphere, Canada. The architect of this geodesic dome was Buckminster Fuller. The building originally formed an enclosed structure of steel and acrylic cells, 249 square feet in diameter and 203 feet high. It is a Class 1 double-layer dome, in which the inner and outer layers are connected by a latticework of struts. A complex system of shades was used to control its internal temperature. The sun shading system was an attempt by the architect to reflect the same biological processes that the human body relies on to maintain its internal temperature. Visitors had access to 4 themed platforms divided into 7 levels. The building included a 121.4-foot-long escalator, the longest ever built at the time. The mini-rail monorail ran through the pavilion. The Biosphere is a museum dedicated to the environment, located on St. Helens Island in the former Pavilion of the United States, for the 1967 World Fair, Expo 67. In 1976 a fire burned away the building's transparent acrylic bubble, but the hard steel truss structure remained. The site sat idle until 1990 when Environment Canada purchased the site and it became the Biosphere Environment Museum in 2007, dedicated to interactive activities and presents exhibitions about the major environmental issues related to water, climate change, air, ecotechnologies, and sustainable development. Wonderworks, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. One of the top things to do in Pigeon Forge is Wonderworks Indoor Amusement Park, one of the best Pigeon Forge attractions. With over 35,000 square feet of edutainment, Wonderworks is an amusement park for the mind. The attraction combines education and entertainment with more than 100 hands-on exhibits that challenge the mind and spark the imagination. Some attractions as, the Island of Pigeon Forge, Titanic Museum, Hatfield and McCoy, Hollywood Wax Museum, etc. When you enter, be sure to bring your imagination with you. A quick walk through the inversion tunnel leads you to an amusement park for the mind, featuring unique exhibits and activities for those of all ages. You can learn about the 1989 San Francisco and actually feel a simulated 5.3 quake at the Quake Café. Get blown away at Hurricane Shack, where you can feel the force of 84 miles per hour winds. That's a level 1 hurricane. Visit the Sound Lab to experience 3D sounds, play virtual air hockey, create a musical masterpiece on the floor piano and dance the night away at Recollections, a heat sensor, body motion capture exhibit. Kids of all ages love bubbles, so head to the Bubble Lab to try out your bubble expertise, or if you're up for a thrill, check out Wonderworks Wonder Simulators, where you can create your own roller coaster. This once top-secret laboratory was located in the Bermuda Triangle. An experiment gone awry lifted the laboratory, carrying it to Music Drive in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, where it landed upside down. Luckily all of the exhibits remained intact and available for guests to explore. It was built in 2012. The Basket Building, Newark, Ohio. The 7-story, 180,000 square foot building was designed by the Longaberger Company, maker of natural wood baskets. The basket handles weigh almost 150 tons and can be heated during cold weather to prevent ice damage. The building sold for $1.2 million in December 2017 to Kuhn and Bobby George of Cleveland. The original cost of the building was $30 million in 1997. Ohio developer and the building's current co-owner, Steve Kuhn, announced on October 21 that the former Longaberger Basket Company headquarters in Newark, Ohio, shaped like a giant picnic basket and covered with fake basketweave siding, will be converted to a luxury hotel and that its exterior will remain intact, if his development team can secure historic tax credits to help finance the project. The owners have hired Cleveland's Sandvik architects to design a hotel that will include a restaurant and indoor pool, as well as about 150 upper-level luxury guest rooms. Well folks, the program is over, and I hope you have enjoyed the pictorial as much as I had by putting it together. There are many creative people in this world, and it's truly amazing how they can transform their creative minds into physical entities that captures our admiration. Having said that, I must capture that buffalo for dinner tonight. Steak à la mayor. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the most beautiful butterflies of the world's rainforest. 4.5 minutes in duration. Sit back and enjoy their lovely colors and motion.